interview with Alex Jones. Did you see this entire interview?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that because I have it on my blog for those who've never seen it. This is a recent interview that Alex Jones did with Aaron Rousseau, from Freedom to Fascism.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And it's a very good interview for many reasons. One of the reasons is because in that interview, he basically talks about his first-hand experience when he's talking to one of the Rockefellers, and he senses the cold, indifferent nature of the Rockefeller. So if people go to my blog to the War on You section, watch that interview and pay special attention to that when he's describing how cold and indifferent and completely inhuman, this character that was talking to him about the human race and why they do the things to the human race. Notice what Aaron Rousseau is saying, because Rousseau himself doesn't realize, because he's probably not familiar with, my work on the alien side of things, but, people who make the connection can see a very interesting anecdote there. So if they go there, they can see that incredible interview.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of other things on that area of the blog. I think there's one where I show the connections. Remember we were talking earlier about Bono?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
And I wanted to back up what I was saying. And if they go to the blog, they'll see a link that actually talks about Bono and U2 and their Swiss financial connections.
Oh, really?
How they moved from Island Records and how there's a lot of funny big breaks, because remember as I was telling you, when the controllers of the Dionysian cult, and some of these cults are operating through these people's champions, they auto-promote those people, they promote those people over the heads of others.
Yeah, sure.
They do it very subtly so that you won't find out about it, so that you blink your eyes and then tomorrow these guys are big stars or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, there's a very good link there to show you how it was done in the case of U2, that these people, had their company was ruined, but then they were given big shares in it, and then suddenly they were bought out by the Swiss, connection, the Vatican Masonic connection, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Very similar story to those who know about the Rolling Stones and so on. So again, interesting to see that right in the middle of the media today, these people's champions, they don't just get there by accident because they're just great old souls,
Excellent. Yeah, I got to check that out. That's very interesting. And as you say, this happens time and time again when you research many of these big groups. So, and
I update that section of the blog. In fact, I update the blog, frequently, so people need to go back there. There's also on the same War on You section some interesting stuff on mind control.
Yeah.
How about the leaders of the world, the military leaders, and also the presidents being mind controlled. There's some interesting information there. People need to get their arms around much of this information. They should come back to my blog, on a daily basis, or to the websites, or to your own Red Ice website, because we need to be updated daily on this. Stop turning to the normal media to tune into all the lies and the mind control, and get savvy with a lot of the stuff. Because you may not be into one area of what I'm doing, but I do a lot of different things. So people who maybe go, I don't buy into this stuff over here. We got a lot of stuff. We got a whole palette of things that you might be interested in. Exactly.
And also, of course, you sent me that link. Thank you very much. I put it up there. Talking about the Brotherhood of the Bell, the movie.
Oh, yeah. That's another one. I'm glad you reminded me.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff I was talking about is, so I recommend people to go to the symbolism section and the War on You section are two primary sections of the blog. And on the War on You section, I also put up, I believe, the Brotherhood of the Bell. It wasn't actually me that put it up. It was one of my distributors, AJ Bruno from One Heart Books.
Sure.
He's an official distributor.
Yeah.
He found it on YouTube. So if they go to the link on my blog and click on Brotherhood of the Bell, you'll actually have the privilege of watching an extremely rare movie that is a big-time whistleblowing movie, which is very, very hard to find. Most people who have this video only have a really, old VHS copy. So somebody has put it up on the web, so while it's still there, everyone who's listening to this should go to, check it out, the Brotherhood of the Bell with Glenn Ford, and check out this remarkable movie that's also I also put out the note there that this movie is also laced with a numerological symbolism under the main theme of the movie. There's a whole maritime theme running there about the maritime law, and the mentioning of the this whole connection to the high seas. Even in the decor they use it, and then also the concept of numerology that runs all the way through the film. So again, a great study. I used to show that movie when I did my classes in America, when I did classes on the tarot and on astrology. Sometimes we'd take an hour, and then I'd show a particular movie or documentary as well if we had time, and that was one I used to show to my class members, and everybody really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's very, very eerie and very, very scary in one way. But very well done, actually. I think the acting is I really, really love the movie just for its acting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
just the
great.
brilliant themes. Because, of course, the tarot numerological themes is that he's the fool. You know, they mentioned the number 22 in the movie, and the key character is really kind of like a fool character who's himself gone through a period of initiation, where his life turns upside down. He goes into the underworld and he comes back out, sort of renewed.
Yeah.
There's some tremendous tarot numerological symbolism and alchemy, a lot of alchemical symbolism in this film.
Yeah. I think, by the way, just to throw that in, I think it was you who recommended Being There with... I forget his name now, but...
Peter
Sellers.
Peter Sellers.
Yeah. Same theme kind of running through there. Awesome movie.
That's an extremely esoteric film.
Yeah.
That's an extremely esoteric film. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I've always loved it, and I think it's very funny. I mean, it's a hilarious movie. It was also one of Peter Sellers. It was Peter Sellers' last film.
Yeah.
So it's a novel film. It's also a whistleblowing movie.
Yeah.
The multi-millionaire, billionaire in that is, meant to be one of the Rothschilds or one of the Astors. They kind of paint him in a way. You can definitely tell he's one of these major Illuminati,
Yeah, absolutely.
East Coast billionaires like J.P. Morgan or Lord Astor or, even Piers Morgan,
Yeah.
So they're dropping a lot of hints in that film, too.
Certainly.
Excellent film. But the esoteric aspects coming out of the old Gnostic, canon, and out of the early books of the Bible is also very, very finely done.
Yeah.
Extremely brilliant film.
Absolutely, I totally agree. All right. Let's dive into the main theme today. Well, I think we're halfway through the program already, so it's it's time to go there regarding the children and the outsider, of course. And let me begin here with this quote, Micahel. David Kaiser, a practicing psychiatrist in Chicago, states, "Modern psychiatry has yet to convincingly prove the genetic, biologic cause of any single mental illness."
Right, absolutely. And, that basically, that's a good quote because, you see, there's a big push on now. Basically, to be brief about it, the problem with the children is not so much their behavior, but the way that the experts, or the so-called system, is slowly, over a period of about 25 years now, been trying to very subtly redefine children and their behavior as a sort of a disorder. So that quote that you read is very important because, other experts are saying, wait a minute, there is no evidence that the kind of weird behavior or dysfunctional behavior or, emotionally moody behavior of children has anything to do with, a mental disorder or any kind of biological, disorder. Because for the last 25 years now, children are being repackaged, basically. And this is going to affect the parents because every new parent, who starts to read what the system is saying about children is going to probably believe all this rubbish.
Yeah.
So it's very important to realize that it's not the behavior of children that is the problem. It's the slow reinvention of how to diagnose children, and this is what teachers are being taught, because it's extremely important right now for the system to make it seem that your child, or any child in general, is basically has mental disorders.
Yeah.
And the reason why they want this to happen is because if you buy into it, and you are buying into it because the media, the FDA commercials, these fake articles that appear on the web and also in the newspapers about these findings, if you believe any of this stuff, then you are going to sanction Big Brother, the AMA, the FDA, to fix your child through drugs.
Yeah.
Some children have a lot of problems, leading up even to sort of what might be called schizophrenia or multiple personality, whatever, right? But see, those can be treated in purely homeopathic, healthy, proper psychoanalytical means.
Yeah.
So we're talking, so if you in fact do have a problem child or a malady, please understand that we're, okay, granted. But there are many, many healthy ways to deal with that. But we must understand that society itself, the system, my big worry is that the system, the teachers, the schools, the institutions, the TV, the media, is reinventing a way to look at children as if children are a disorder. Right? Children themselves. A thing called a child is basically a problem.
Yeah.
That needs to be controlled. Just another way you brand chickens or you brand, pigs or something. A child, when it's born, is basically a problem. It's a problem to the parent, he's a problem to the neighbors, he's a problem to the system, he's a problem to the school, and look at the trench coat mafia. Is your kid the one who's going to bring a gun to school and kill everybody? Is your kid showing signs of, craziness? Is your kid, getting getting into, Nazi websites? Or is your kid, being seduced on the web? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, certainly.
Is your kid eating the right stuff? Is your kid hanging out with the right people? In other words, your kid is a completely brainless, idiotic twat who, left alone for 5 seconds without your, control, basically, is going to run amok into all kinds of evil. This is what the system wants to show that children are, so that they completely erase the normal, true organic understanding of what a child is. Yeah. And once the human beings, the parents, start to basically embody this, that then becomes the projected scenario onto the child, who then does go and act in those ways.
Yeah.
So, it's like the loop you just talked about, this feedback loop.
Yeah.
What's been happening over the last 25 years is that people have been noticing there's tremendous negative changes in the behavior of children. My take on this, I'm glad we got a chance to talk about it, is that behavioral change is a result. It is a symptom of wrong thinking about children. Connecting also to the loss of innocence of adults, for start.
Yeah.
But secondly, the buying into a very, very negative opinion about children that, has got to go. And we always talked in previous shows about how man's idea of himself is erroneous. It's just an idea. Paul Levy backing this up, that, the ideas we have about ourselves are ego-generated. They're not real. But my goodness, then, one of the key relationships we have is with the children.
Yeah,
and they are reacting negatively, not to the parents. So any parent who's listening to this, please understand, they're not reacting to you. They're reacting to the negative ideas you have about them. This is where the problem is. It's a problem of fundamental communication, which children are reacting against the negative ideas that are projected upon them. And they find that going to video games, you see, or playing out these roles, or sort of Dungeons and Dragons and all sorts of heroic things that they turn to, those heroes, those games treat them better. Those games present them with a better image. So we look at those games and go, they're very violent video games. Yeah, but your kid's the hero in those games.
Yeah, sure. Exactly.
Is he the hero at home, or is he just a slave? When a child is born, right, he is the weakest individual in that family. And the family continues to remind him that all the way through his teenage years. Yeah. That you are weaker by musculature, you're weaker mentally, you're weaker emotionally, all the way through. You are the weakest, party in this dynamic. They don't say that, but that is basically the fact. Exactly. The child is often not empowered. Yeah. So there are turns to anything, video games, virtual reality, to sports, to, driving sports cars, or doing anything that brings out the adrenaline and makes that person feel of self-worth.
Sure, yeah.
And it will even join a gang. It will kill, it will commit crime, it will do all sorts of things in order to feel the self-worth, the sense of heroism, you see, that is denied.
So this is the also, of course, we can tie in, as you say, the medication in this. This is basically the Ritalin generation, and where ADHD is popping up, as a symptom everywhere. And
that's right.
And again,
this is that thing I was telling you about, that they're trying to make it look like any type of dysfunctional behavior is a disorder, literally a mental disorder. They even talk now, they've literally diagnosed children who have even a little bit of problem in school. You're instantly diagnosed now as what's called oppositional defiant disorder. Look how ludicrous. Oppositional defiant disorder. What it really means is your kid's a rebel.
So it's odd, right?
He's odd, yeah. He hates the system. He sees we're full of trash. We're totally idiotic. We're like, we're pathetic victims of the system. Yeah. He doesn't buy in, so he's immediately oppositional, defiant, and disorderly.
Amazing.
Now, does that mean that that child is somebody you're going to learn from, that is a teacher in his own right, that has got a point, or maybe, in fact, has an incredible understanding? No, this is some gulag, victim. Yeah. Like, you used to see in 1984, they're going to put you in chains and send you to one of these penal colonies as some sort of, retarded rebel. We're on the verge of this again, in which anyone who shows the slightest form of non-conformity is going to be tied down, strapped down, and injected, and totally ostracized.
Sure, and I mean, you have the mental health screening laws in England, and tying this together with antisocial behavior and this kind of stuff. All of this ties together, and it seems like, they're narrowing the perspective right now on what is considered to be, in quotes here, normal.
Right.
So, I mean, it's amazing.